Hello again. Now I think I'm gonna do a nostalgic rave since it turns out that even though Green Lantern, TAS, and just didn't air here on TV this week, they are DL9 from the European airings of it. And I also might do a video on 20th anniversary of Cartoon Network later this month. So this nostalgic rave is gonna be on Genndy Tartakovsky cartoons. Genndy Tartakovsky is one of my favorite animators, and he definitely made a lot of great cartoons in this generation. And then he has transitioned to film in Hotel Transylvania. I might see that. And since even though critical reception of that movie has been mixed, and most people agree that it's kind of a sweet, neat, and funny movie, and it's not important right now. Okay. First Genndy Tartakovsky cartoon I'm going to talk to you about is Dexter's Laboratory. Max, knock it off. Dexter's Laboratory, it's about this boy genius named Dexter, who's trying to keep his lab secret from him and his family, but his big sister Dee Dee always manages to get in there and mess things up. There's many great situations in there, how science can solve a lot of problems. Some of the funniest sketches I saw on that show. Apart from the main ones with Dexter, there's also Dial M for Monkey, which Dexter doesn't believe it can do anything, but it's actually a secretly a superhero that works for the top of an organization that fights crime and evil. Also, another one is the Justice Friends, which sort of parodies the Marvel superheroes. Have Major Glory sort of parody Captain America, Infallible Crunk, you probably know who he's parodying, and Val Hallen, which is a parody of Thor. He sort of mixed the sort of Shakespearean English with sort of this 80s skater talk. Instead of Mjolnir hammer, he has an electric guitar. They all live together in this apartment, having to deal with a challenge everyday life, as they put it, and I think he is also current bit in both in the universe shows the Puppet Pals, also named Mitch, which involve bonking. It usually involves Mitch telling a joke to Clem, and then Mitch bonking Clem on the head. Definitely has a lot of great range. Dexter has a mecha in it that Dee Dee goes to humongous sizes. He sometimes also messes up experiments. In the last episode before a third season was made without Genndy Tartakovsky's involved actually going to Japan and then fighting off a big monster. Sort of parody of anime, tokusatsu, and Japanese monster movies. Okay, there's Dexter's Laboratory. Alright, so next one I'm going to talk about Samurai Jack. This one came out about 2001, and then also J.J. Abrams is working on that movie, who he sort of give this whole series film. It's about a samurai, of course named Jack, who fights, who has his village enslaved by a magical warlord named Aku, voiced by a voice actor Mako Iwamatsu, who is also well known for his work on Avatar: The Last Airbender as Iroh. So after years of training, he returns to his village with the magic herd. It's the only thing that can defeat Aku. But before he can strike the last blow, Aku sends him in the future, and where he rules almost the entire world. So as you can tell, it's another anime-influenced work. Tartakovsky uses anime as one of his influences a lot in his work. Again, definitely a very cinematic here. The action scenes are some of the best I've ever seen in the show. You can definitely say it still holds up to this day. and definitely one of the best cartoons that was aired in Cartoon Network back in the day, and to this day for that matter. I mean, whenever it comes to Boomerang, I just feel really obligated to watch it. And obviously, it also uses influences from Frank Miller's Ronin. Also, there's plenty of great stories here. I mean, there's one where he helps raise the dogs, fight off Aku's beetles. He hits off where he helps mobsters, this group of mobsters, and there's in also erases urges that have been possessed. Nest Magic Gauntlet, and also helps Jack gain more confidence, and even when it breaks. And also, one where a bunch of kids tell stories about Jack, and I can see how he did, what he would do, and when Aku tries to sway them with fairy tales. That was it. And even though it ended its run without a real ending, they are working on a movie based on it. So we may get something out of that. Okay, hey Max. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Star Wars Clone Wars, not Star Wars The Clone Wars. It's the one that airing now. It's actually its 5th season, and depending on how long I'm going this drought out of Green Lantern TS, and I'm just going to last, I might talk about that once I just started it. But that's not important right now. Star Wars Clone Wars is essentially a show that aired in 2003-2005. Sort of an interim between episode 2 and 3. And he tells stories about what else. That's the Clone Wars, as I've only been previously alluded to in the Star Wars saga. I mean, another one that makes good use of no dialogue scenes, and just that the pictures and the music advance the plot. But most of the time was just these 15-minute skits that capped off blockbuster movies or other shows. And yes, it was pretty popular. I mean, used to have a pack with Clone Wars Obi-Wan and General Grievous as figures, but seemed to have misplaced it instead. And even though Grievous did get his butt handed to him in the movie, his skill really came in this Clone Wars series. Because, I mean, it's also reflected a bit in the new one and that Dave Filoni has done. And that's the one the guy who has directed a bunch of episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but again, I'm just getting off track here. So, actually, I liked seeing how all the stories that could be advanced with there, and how these climactic battles could have. I mean, also introduced who's one of my favorite Sith acolytes. It's Asajj Ventress. I mean, this means just another Sith acolyte. I mean, apparently how they got around the Sith only having 2 members at a time, is that have these acolytes. It can be in the tutelage, and that's essentially how Dooku got Asajj as his employee. So also definitely liked his scene in all the clone units that's in their story. It's sort of like how a bunch of military. Sorry, I'm using "like" a lot in this video, and I don't like to use that word often. So that's Star Wars Clone Wars. I mean, I can definitely say it's still pretty good. I'm pretty still still gonna like this the Rave-Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars better, but next, it turns out the Dave Filoni one isn't actually as bad as I thought it would be so far. Okay. So the last show I'm going to talk about with this whole thing, this video, is Symbolic Titan. I mean, this is Tartakovsky's newest show before he left Cartoon Network to form his own studio under Sony. I mean, hey Gabe. I mean, Symbolic Titan is another way to show how the influence anime has on Tartakovsky's work. So, essentially, it's a mecha series. He's kind of like the Big O or Gundam, It's about how three teenagers from an alien planet come to Earth after being banished. Or at least I think it is. Feel free to correct me in the comments. So I mean, do you realize that Blue Beetle didn't actually get captioned in my most recent Injustice video? So, no. And definitely, and also even though and Earth gets in trouble a lot, so how they call upon the Symbolic Titan to defeat him, and also have great powers in order to do it. So and it also and yes, I am aware of the infamous stance scene from it. I mean, what they tried to do they wanted to get a toy deal from it, and it actually would seem like a pretty easy thing to license. I mean, since they like robots. I mean, boys do like robots a lot. I mean, considering how Transformers has done so well over the years, is not to mention how the Mega have done the Power Rangers. I can definitely say that's true. However, no toy maker actually want to touch the property because they're concerned that having a female lead in the show would sway them the boys. I mean, but as you can tell, and that essentially caused the show to be abruptly ended, without a real conclusion. And so, the argument doesn't really make any sense since the Thundercats line, and they released later that year, had a Chitara figure, which I still have. I mean, I'm not gonna go get it yet for time constraints, but and also that series is also on hiatus. I mean, both of them are going to be on Toonami because both series had attracted an adult and young adult audience to them. It seems that more college students and adult animation fans are watching them than kids. So hopefully, now that Tartakovsky has finished Hotel Transylvania and it's also become a box office hit, and I'm thinking maybe if the young adult audience gets from Toonami manages to prove well enough successful, then maybe it could try and work on a second season, but I don't know. And I think I might do a video on Thundercats 2011 and Sym-Bionic Titan on Toonami soon, but I don't know. See what happens with the Young Justice and some Green Lantern TS over the week. So here's my look at Genndy Tartakovsky cartoons. I'm also still working on getting all my videos on Blip so I can clear out the space on my hard drive. I mean, maybe if I make enough, I might think about buying an external drive to get my backups ready, and so I can keep making videos. And my computer is also getting kind of. I'm thinking about upgrading, since I've seen there's good refurbished on my Macs, but I don't have the money, and I won't be satisfied with it for the time being. So, anyway, that's all I had to say. Leave a comment below. Thank you for all the support. Good and bad, and I shall see you later.